Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to tackle a text that almost everyone thinks they know,
Oh, yeah. Which one?
the Kamasutra.
Okay. Definitely one with a reputation.
Exactly. And if your first thought is, just a bedroom manual or something, well, hold that thought.
Right. Because that's a huge, huge misconception.
It really is. And that's what we want to unpack today.
Yeah, it's fascinating because the history is so different. It was written by the sage Vatsyayana way back in ancient India, probably, somewhere between 400 BCE and 200 CE?
A long time ago.
A very long time ago. And it was never just about the physical side. It was actually quite a sophisticated philosophical text.
Philosophical, how so?
Well, it looked at human relationships, the whole spectrum, love, connection, but also really the art of living a good, well-rounded life. It came from a time when, sensuality wasn't hidden away. It was seen as an integral part of life.
Okay, that already sounds completely different from the popular image.
Totally different.
So for you listening, where do we even start peeling back those layers? What's the first big thing we need to get?
Mm.
Like, what's the core idea that gets lost in translation beyond the bedroom stuff? What are we really missing?
Well, the first thing is just how broad it is. The sources show it's not just about partners or romance. It gets into all sorts of life skills,
Like, what kind of skills?
like running a household effectively, the art of conversation, how to choose good friends, even like etiquette for public gatherings. Seriously.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So it's more like a guide to being a functional, cultured person in that society.
Exactly. It's kind of a worldview all wrapped up in one text.
So it's less about just desire in the, let's say, romantic sense, and more about balancing that desire with what? Duty and material success.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You've hit on a key point. It connects to this bigger idea of balance in life's main goals.
Mhm.
In ancient India, they talked about dharma.
That's duty, right? Your responsibilities.
Yep. And artha, which is prosperity, material well-being, success in the world.
Yeah.
And kama, which is desire, pleasure, enjoyment, sensuality, is part of that, but it's broader. The Kamasutra is really exploring how these three fit together.
So it's this ancient blueprint for, a balanced life. That really does flip the script.
It absolutely does. And looking at it that way gives you this incredible window into the values of ancient Indian society. It shows a really complex, sophisticated way of thinking about life. The text itself can be quite poetic, actually.
That philosophical depth is amazing. But, like with any ancient text, I imagine there are bits that feel, well, jarring today.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
The sources mention some pretty patriarchal views, for instance. How do we handle that when we're reading it?
That's a really critical point. You absolutely have to read it with a historical and cultural lens. You can't just pick it up like a modern self-help book.
Right, it's a product of its time.
Exactly. It reflects the society it came from, warts and all. So we need to see it as a historical artifact, understand why certain views were common then within that specific context. It's not about saying those views are okay now.
So understanding, not endorsing.
Precisely. That distinction is crucial for reading any ancient text responsibly, really. And another thing, the translation you read makes a huge difference.
Oh, so?
Well, some are very scholarly, trying to stick close to the original intent in the philosophy. Others have been deliberately sensationalized over the years.
Focusing on the parts that sell books, maybe.
Pretty much. And that, unfortunately, feeds right back into that misconception we started with. It obscures the depth. So if we sort of strip away those modern layers, the misinterpretations, and use that historical perspective,
Yeah.
the core insight that emerges is that the Kama Sutra is just so much more than physical instructions. It's really about, let's call it the art of connection.
Connection between people, or
Yeah.
connection between those life goals you mentioned.
Both, really. But especially that connection between dharma, artha, and kama. Duty, prosperity, desire, finding the right balance. It's about the whole person, the whole life.
Okay. That's a really powerful way to reframe it. So thinking about all this, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Well, for you listening, if our understanding of even a famous text like the Kama Sutra can be so shaped or maybe warped by modern takes or bad translations, what else might you be misunderstanding?
That's a great question.
Yeah. What other historical writings, maybe ones you think you know, might hold some really surprising wisdom if you actually looked a bit deeper?
Something to definitely think about.
Absolutely. Something to mull over until our next deep dive.